Hey everyone, welcome back to Realpolitik. Today we're going to be talking about the latest developments in Ukraine for May the 7th, 2023. All right, so let's get right into it. So the Russians have launched um, several missiles at Odessa and Mykolaiv, and there are aerial alerts all over Ukraine. This is in retaliation for recent Ukrainian missile and drone strikes that were launched several hours ago towards Crimea. In Sevastopol, the base of the Russian Black Sea Fleet, Black Sea Navy, there were several explosions, and there was actually a Ukrainian Grom 2 missile which was shot down. Now, this is what the Grom 2 looks like. And it's Ukrainian version. It's a tactical ballistic missile similar to the Iskander. So there's that, and then in Zaporizhia, the Russians are currently evacuating civilians all along the front lines, and we got word of this yesterday. They're evacuating people further south, and we're getting word now that they are also evacuating people from the town of Enerhodar. And this is where the Zaporizhia nuclear plant, the largest nuclear plant in all of Europe, is located. So they're doing that, evacuating civilians from there. What that tells me is that obviously they're expecting Ukraine to launch amphibious assaults all along, uh, all along the front, near Enerhodar, in and around Enerhodar. And of course, recently the Ukrainians have begun building up troops near Kherson. And recently they tried sending some infantry and even some tanks to these uninhabited islands right here. So they're building up troops. The Russians are trying to target the buildups. Um, and obviously the Ukrainians want to land some troops uh, on the Russian side of the basically the southeastern bank of the Dnieper River. And they've already tried amphibious assaults on Enerhodar last year. Um, they all basically failed each time. The Ukrainians denied it for a while, but they admitted to the first time they tried. The first time, and several other times, the Russians claimed that the Ukrainians lost several hundred soldiers that were taken prisoner, and they were killed. So the Ukrainians are building up forces to launch amphibious assaults, and obviously their goal is because the Russians have set up three lines of defense here. It's going to be difficult. So obviously the Ukrainians want to land somewhere here, right? Want to link up and then attack the Russian defensive lines from the rear. But the Russians also have trench networks all along here and basically everywhere. So the Russians are prepared. This time around, like I've said in previous reports, the Ukrainians do not have a numerical advantage. The Russians have the firepower advantage. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Only time will tell. So in other news, Ramzan Kadyrov, the president of Chechnya, he's come out in response to the statements which were made by Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of Wagner PMC, and he has stated he responded very quickly, and he said that basically the Ahmed Special Forces, which are his elite units, and he's president of Chechnya for life, by the way. Chechnya is part of Russia, and he said that they would be willing to replace Wagner in in and around in and around Bakhmut. Um, so basically, talks for a while about it, but allegedly, him and Prigozhin. I think this is a picture from. It's an older picture, but basically, as I said yesterday, as as Prigozhin said, basically the Ukrainians control something like 1.5, 2 square meters they have remaining in Bakhmut, just this area right here, and some of the front lines in the gray zone. So um, I'm not sure if this is all theatrics because maybe the Wagner and the Ahmad Special Forces are going to work together and try to storm the Ukrainian positions. Obviously, Russia would want to take the rest of Bakhmut before May 9th, which is Victory Day, commemorating the victory in World War II. But right now we're on the 7th. There's like what, 3 days, 2.5 days left. So 2 days left. So I'm not sure if they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna be able to do it. But anyways, it seems that from what they're saying officially, the Ahmed Special Forces are going to take over for Wagner. About I think a month or so ago, there was word that Wagner would leave Bakhmut and move to Avdiivka because in Avdiivka, all the roads in and out of the town city are under fire control as well. There's one road here remaining, and one road there, and then one smaller road here, and then I believe is yeah, there's a road here as well. That's a dirt road pretty much, but basically all of the main roads are under fire control, right? And even this road is under fire control. So the whole town is under fire control. The rail line is how the Ukrainians were resupplying themselves. Um, Mainly that they were using the rail lines as opposed to the roads, but of course the Russians have fire control over the rail lines as well. So there's that, and then what else? The grain deal that was agreed upon last year. It doesn't look like Russia wants to extend it. The Russians are saying that basically um, a lot of the grain was supposed to go to Africa, but only a small fraction, like something like less than, I think it was 4% went to Africa. The rest went to wealthy European countries. And also the routes which have been designated for civilian use, the Ukrainians are using these routes to basically, they're using these routes as cover to attack Crimea with these speedboats and drones and whatnot. So the Russians are not happy with the deal, and it doesn't look like they're going to renew it, despite by attempts, despite despite attempts by Turkey or Turkey as they're called now to broker a new deal or extend the deal. Um, Other news: a Kinzhal missile, hypersonic Russian missile. There are claims that one has been shot down. This picture is kind of not the best quality, but it pretty much shows the missile that was allegedly shot down. Now, the problem is that the Ukrainians only have the Patriot Pack 1 and 2 variants, not the Pack 3. And allegedly, only the Pack 3 is capable of shooting down something like the Kinzhal. But if the Kinzhal, when it does travel at hypersonic speeds, faster than 5 times the speed of sound, basically it's supposed to create a force field in the front of it, and it's supposed to be invisible to radar. So I'm not sure. Some sources are claiming that the Ukrainians went back on their statement, but who knows? Who knows what the truth is? Could have been shot down. In other news, a Ukrainian, a famous Ukrainian war blogger has there was an attempt on his life, and supposedly he survived. But this is the scene. And of course, a few weeks ago, another famous Russian vlogger was killed as well. And these guys are just they're just vloggers, like they work on the internet, they go on Twitter and Telegram. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of sad, but anyways, also I reported yesterday Gonzalo Lira, uh, a dual citizen of Chile and the United States, was captured in Ukraine. Um, I don't know why he went to Ukraine. He's very critical of the Ukrainian government, and they arrested him. He's looking at 48 years. Um, in other news, let's see. Yeah, also the Ukrainians right here. Um, you can see the symbol. The Ukrainians and Russians actually exchanged three Russian pilots for 40 Ukrainian POWs. So there's that. And according to what I've read, according to the reports, the POWs were captured, the Ukrainian POWs were captured in Mariupol. So there's that. And supposedly today, the Russians, they're claiming that they shot down something like 30, more than 30 Ukrainian drones. So that might have been in preparation for the Ukrainian counteroffensive. Of course, Zelensky has returned from Europe now, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens with this counteroffensive. Of course, the Ukrainians, what they would want to do is get to towns like Bakhmut, and then ideally they would want to link up with forces that had landed in Enerhodar and Kherson, and then they would want to go on to, Berdyansk, and they would hopefully want to liberate Mariupol. That would be a huge victory, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Like I mentioned in a previous video, the Ukrainians don't have a numerical advantage. The Russians have a lot more firepower, a lot more artillery. The Ukrainian tankers have 5 weeks of training. The Russian tankers have months, at least 6 months of training. So anyways, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. Anyways, there's before I end the video, there's this article right here in the Washington Post. Senior Ukrainian officials fear counterattack may not live up to the hype. So who knows what's gonna happen? But anyways, that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.